The underground utility community is growing faster than ever. You need to be prepared to get the job done and get it done safely. This video will help you be aware of potential hazards and learn about best practices for operating and excavating properly. It is not a substitute for the operator's manual. If you need additional training on your equipment, contact your local Ditch Witch dealer. Before you use your machine, read and understand the operator's manual, which can be found on your machine or at ditchwitch.com. In addition to this video and the operator's manual, the safety section of the Ditch Witch website features an extensive list of safety guidelines that we recommend you read and review frequently. Only use original equipment manufacturer replacement parts. Do not make any modifications to your equipment unless it is approved by the Ditch Witch factory. Protect yourself by wearing the appropriate personal protection equipment for the job site. This can include a hard hat, gloves, eye protection, high visibility vest, breathing and hearing protection. Follow the PPE manufacturer's recommendations for proper inspection and replace as needed. Do not wear any jewelry or loose or frayed clothing that can catch on controls or rotating parts, and tie back all long hair. Now that you have prepared yourself, it's time to prepare your equipment. Regular maintenance and inspection are essential to the safe operation of equipment. With the engine off, key removed, and attachments lowered to the ground, check all hydraulic hoses and connections for visible signs of leaking daily, and check that all connections are tight. Check the ground under the machine after it has been sitting for any visible signs of leaking. Check all fluid levels and refill any that need it. Fluid injection can lead to amputation, so use cardboard, not your hand, to check for hydraulic leaks with the system pressurized. Check the safety signs, guards, and shields for any damage and replace if needed. If working under raised lift arms, support the arms with the cylinder locks if provided. Do not walk or work under raised attachments unless lift arms are securely supported. Check attachment plate and latch pins. Ensure plate is in good condition and locking mechanism is fully engaged. Always refuel with the engine off and allow the engine to cool before refueling. Keep the fuel can or nozzle away from the battery and hot parts of the engine. With the engine running, check all controls to make sure they are working properly. Keep in mind that some machines may need regeneration periodically. During regeneration, exhaust temperatures may rise, so park the machine outdoors, away from flammable materials such as dry grass or debris. Never allow regeneration while transporting your machine on a trailer. Use only Ditch Witch approved attachments. Attachments can change the stability and operating characteristics of the unit. See ditchwitch.com or your dealer for approved attachments. Do not drive or operate a machine with an attachment that is not properly attached to the machine. An equipment checklist is provided at ditchwitch.com/safe, which includes a full list of items to check before operation. You and your machine are ready to work. It's time to prepare the job site. A successful job begins before you start working. Review the information already available about the job and job site. The more you know about and plan for the job site before you begin, the less likely you'll be to work around any surprises. Review blueprints, right-of-way, and maps of existing underground utilities and planned installation. Check for information about existing or planned structures, elevations, or proposed work that may be taking place at the same time. Inspect the job site for evidence of utilities, slopes, soil type and conditions, and obstacles such as buildings, rocks, or streets you may have while working. Use the correct tools, machinery, safety equipment, and work methods. After you have gathered all the necessary information, plan the proposed excavation. If the job site is around schools, hospitals, heavy traffic or populated areas, or a business district, traffic or pedestrian control may need to be arranged before arriving at the job site. Contact local authorities considering any permits, notifications, or planning that needs to take place prior to working. If you plan to dig or excavate, review the excavation plans and mark the proposed excavation area with white paint, also known as white lining. By doing this, you let the locator know where exactly the excavation will be taking place. Then, contact your local one-call to have underground utilities located before digging, including utilities on private property. Unless it is an emergency, you must give one-call advance notice to allow time for utilities to be marked. Also, contact any utilities that do not participate in the one-call service. Some utility companies locate only to the meter, so there may be lines that are not marked. Also, utilities on government land, such as schools, military bases, etc., must be privately located. It is imperative you have all underground lines and cables located and marked before operating equipment and verify those locates. Remember, locates are not exact. Do not rely on locate markings alone to help minimize the risk of damaging underground utilities. Use a locator, information around you, and hand digging or vacuum excavation to verify that locates are correct. Some contractors use a positive response acknowledgement. Therefore, do not begin work until they have positive response a locate has been completed. Also, some utility providers require a photograph of the proposed excavation area, showing the locate marks before the contractor is authorized to excavate. If locate marks are damaged, the locate must be repeated. Once the locates have been completed and verified, you are ready to classify the job site according to the underground hazards already in place. For example, if you are working within 10 feet of gas lines, the job site would be classified as gas, and additional precautions would be taken. Now that you know the potential hazards on the job site, have an emergency response plan in case of an underground strike. Have the local emergency and medical facilities phone numbers on hand and have access to a telephone. If you damage a utility, contact the utility company immediately. If you need to shut down the machine for an emergency, immediately release controls and turn off the ignition switch. Having procedures in place before an emergency occurs helps you and others respond quickly and effectively. In the event of an electric strike and you are on the machine, remain on the machine and warn others of an electric strike and instruct them to leave the area. Raise attachments and drive from the immediate area. Contact the utility company and do not return until given permission by the utility company. If you are off the machine, do not touch the machine. Leave the area using small shuffle steps and contact the utility company. Do not return until given permission by the utility company. If a gas line is damaged, immediately shut off the engine and remove any ignition sources, if this can be done safely and quickly. Warn others of a possible strike and leave the area as quickly as possible. If the job site is along a street, stop traffic. Do not return to the job site until given permission by emergency personnel and the utility company. If a fiber optic cable is damaged, do not look into the cut-ends of the fiber optic, as it could damage vision. Call the utility company immediately. If the machine catches on fire, attempt to extinguish if the fire is small and a fire extinguisher is available. If this cannot be done, leave the area and contact emergency personnel. Cutting concrete or stone may create crystalline silica or quartz dust. Additional precautions may be required, such as breathing protection and the use of water spray or other means to control dust. Follow all OSHA guidelines. Before every trip, inspect the trailer and tow vehicle. Securely connect safety chains and breakaway devices. Make sure lights are connected and working properly. Check trailer tires for wear and proper inflation. Use the proper hitch type and size, and make sure the tow vehicle is rated for the weight of the trailer and equipment. If the vehicle is not large enough for the load, you can lose control of the vehicle. Always load and unload the trailer on level ground. Attach the trailer to the vehicle before loading or unloading. To load your unit while standing on the platform, pull the attachment lift control to raise attachment, but keep it as low as possible. Move the unit to the rear of the trailer or truck and align it with the ramps or the center of the trailer bed. Idle the engine. Slowly drive the unit onto the trailer or truck until the tie-down position is reached. Push the boom control to lower the attachment, if space allows. Turn off the engine. If equipped, close the fuel shutoff valve and engage the park brake. Distribute weight properly on the trailer. 10 to 15% of total trailer weight, which is the weight of the equipment plus the trailer, must be on the tongue to help prevent trailer sway. Use caution and mobile the machine slowly while tilting. Secure the machine at indicated tie-down points and have all attachments, tools, and accessories lowered, locked, or stowed. Always use proper restraints and binders to tie equipment down, even if you're traveling only a short distance. Tie down any additional attachments. To unload, first lower the ramps. Remove the tie-downs. If using tilt bed, unlatch tilt bed. Start the engine. Then disengage the parking brake. While standing on the platform, pull the boom control to raise attachment, but keep it as low as possible. With the engine at low idle, slowly mobile the unit down the ramps or bed. Before operating your unit, be familiar with the controls and proper operation of the machine. Most Ditch Witch machines have a color-coded system for identifying controls. Your unit needs someone at the controls at all times, and the operator's presence system should stop movement when the operator releases the controls. Only operate your machine from the operator's station, standing on the platform. Before starting, all controls should be in the neutral position, and the parking brake, if equipped, should be engaged. Turn the ignition switch to start the engine, and release the park brake if equipped. While operating equipment, keep bystanders and other workers at least 6 feet away from the reach of equipment and attachment. Stop the machine if anyone gets too close. A bystander could get pulled into the attachment, or the attachment could throw rocks or debris. In the event of an emergency, or if anyone comes near the equipment, use the controls to stop the attachment and ground drive, or shut off the ignition switch. All Ditch Witch compact utility equipment is to be operated by one person from the operator's station. There should be no riders at any time. Some machines have traction assist to help trenching or plowing. If equipped, lock the axles while trenching or plowing, and unlock for driving and steering. To connect the attachment, position the attachment on a level surface, with enough space behind it to accommodate the unit. Ensure that the rotating lock pins are open on the mount plate, or auto latch arms are down. Start the engine and tilt the mount plate forward. Position the mount plate and the upper lip of the receiver plate on the attachment. Raise the lift arms while tilting back the mount plate. The attachment should be raised enough to clear the ground, and the mount plate should be tilted back. For automatic latch, verify arms are down and the bottom of lock pins are visible under the attachment plate. For manual pins, turn the engine off and remove the key. Rotate the lock pin's handles toward the center of the mount plate to secure the attachment to the lift plate. Verify that the bottoms of the lock pins are visible under the attachment to the lift plate. After verifying pins are engaged, turn on the engine and back drag the attachment to ensure it is fully engaged. If the attachment requires hydraulic power for operation, with the ignition shut off and wearing gloves, cycle the attachment drive control to relieve residual pressure at the hydraulic couplers and remove any dirt and debris from the hydraulic couplers. Connect the couplers on the attachment to the couplers on the unit. If needed, connect the attachment case drain hose to the case drain connector. Ensure that the connections are secure by pulling on the hoses. To operate, ensure that all controls are in neutral. Turn the ignition switch to the on position and adjust throttle to low idle. Survey the area around you frequently and be aware of your surroundings. Pay attention to what is ahead and behind you. Engage the attachment control and increase the engine speed to full throttle. Slowly lower the attachment to the desired depth and move the ground drive control to desired speed. Travel at a speed dictated by the job site conditions. There could be hidden rocks, stumps, or uneven terrain. Keep attachment slightly raised and ground drive speed slow to match the conditions. If you are trenching or plowing, the movement is always towards you. Once complete, move the ground drive control to neutral, adjust the throttle back to low idle, and raise the attachment. Move the attachment speed and direction control to neutral and drive from the work area. There are a variety of attachments that can be used with your machine. With different attachments come different hazards. Approved ditch witch attachments are rated for the machine's lifting and hydraulic capacity. Stay at least 6 feet away from any attachment and its range of movement. Only operate from the operator's station unless the attachment operator's manual states otherwise. Keep yourself and bystanders clear of any rotating or moving parts. Do not walk or work under raised attachments unless lift arms are securely supported. Never raise attachment higher than what is needed for the job. Refer to the attachment's operator's manual for proper safety and operating procedures, and know the operating capacity of your equipment. Buckets can be overloaded, depending on the material being carried. Adjust fill levels depending on density of material. Keep the load as low as possible during transport. Watch for holes, rocks, or other hazards when transporting a load. Inspect area before operation. Avoid sudden starts and stops. Never tilt the load in the bucket towards you with the load lifted high, as the load could fall back on you. When operating a trenching attachment, keep everyone at least 6 feet away. Stop the machine if anyone gets too close. Keep everyone away from the digging chain when it is engaged. There is no reason to be close to a moving digging chain. Keep trencher low and take care not to tilt towards operator station. As shown, the trench sides can cave in near the digging chain. If someone was standing near the trench when it gives way, they could get caught in the digging chain, which will cause severe injury or death. Also, if there's any hidden material in the trench, such as rebar or barbed wire, the bystander can get caught in or struck by the material or get pulled into the digging chain. It is imperative everyone stays at least 6 feet away from the digging chain at all times. If the ground conditions permit, keep any attachments, such as rakes or leveler, low to the ground. Only use in the intended direction that is stated in the attachment's operator's manual. Rakes and tillers can throw objects. Be aware of your surroundings, such as bystanders and windows. Stay away from an auger. A rotating auger can grab clothing and pull you in. Keep the auger as vertical as possible while operating. If you are using a plow attachment, keep everyone away from material being installed. Product being installed can grab or catch you if standing too close. Anytime you are working around dust, loud noise, or flying debris, wear the appropriate breathing, hearing, and eye protection. Avoid operating on slopes. Only operate equipment on inclines if absolutely necessary, and only after a risk assessment deems the slope and conditions are conducive to a safe working environment. Perform a risk assessment on each slope to determine if factors affecting risks create an unsafe condition. Ground conditions such as loose or wet soil, rough terrain, etc., reduce traction. Never work on an incline during rain, snow, or sleet. Saturated soil can give way and cause the machine to become unstable and tip over. Operating on a slope can change the operating capacity. Keep attachments low and always operate with the heavy end uphill. The heavy end can vary depending on the attachment or load. Attachments, loads, or articulating machines can change the stability. Keep attachments and loads as low as possible. This controlled test demonstrates how raising the attachment can change the stability. If you have to drive across a slope, swing attachments to the uphill side. Never jerk the control levers. Use a steady, even motion. If using a backhoe attachment on a slope, keep backhoe uphill. Avoid full reach and swinging backhoe to the downhill side. For greater stability while carrying a load, keep the load close to the machine, at the back of the attachment. The most important component for safety on any job site is you, the equipment operator. It is your responsibility to make sure the equipment is ready to operate properly. Contact your local Ditch Witch dealer if you have any questions about operation, maintenance, or equipment use. We're here to help you get the job done safely, efficiently, and effectively. After all, we're in this together.